Greetings and welcome back to another live stream here on Switch to Linux, and we are going to be doing another DistroWars, having a look at two Arch installers, ArchLabs versus EndeavourOS, and hopefully everything runs good. Right before I switch to the full screen here, the data was saying no data, like really? But OBS looked good and nothing seemed frozen, so who knows? Who knows indeed. So anyway, let's go ahead and have a look over at some comments to get started. Hopefully everything is going to be good. Turnabout is fair play. The Biden browser is a free, as in freedom, open source and unrestricted tracking and monitoring forum to follow whichever president got elected for the world to follow 24/7. The Biden browser. That sounds interesting. Good afternoon, everyone. Currently installing OpenSUSE Leap. My Linux server instructor said we can use whatever distro we want, but the class is based on OpenSUSE. There you go. Now's a good time to learn it. Indeed, indeed. How's our audio? I keep on peaking on OBS. Let me turn down OBS just ever so slightly. All right, let me try that. All right. There we are. Well, I'm still peaking a little bit, but we're a little quieter now. Anyway, let's see. It was going to be CentOS, but plans change. I just saw an article today. I'll probably cover it in the Weekly News Roundup, where CentOS died, but now Red Hat is actually free for up to like 7 servers in full production, I think. That might mean you have to create an account with them and stuff, so I'm not sure I want to do that. But something to look into. A server is a server, really. Well, there are going to be pros and cons of different builds and how to build your own. Well, I mean, some of it... Whoa! Hit the kitty cam. A bad spot for the kitty cam. Yeah, the... different servers are managed in different ways. So like when I'm having to manually do a server, I prefer to use Debian because I know it best. But there's reasons you might look at other servers as well. See if I can put the camera back on the kitty there. Kitty's probably terrified at this point. He's like, "What are you doing to me?" Anyway, let's see. All software stuff and wants PDF via textbook. We'll be glad to send them one for free. Expensive, but most like other textbooks found it after a few hours. Yeah, if you're looking for like if you're an academic guy and you want some textbooks, have a look at OpenStax. There is a lot of really high quality open source textbooks over there. The PDF versions are completely free. I think it's OPENSTAX, I think is the name, openstax.org. Unless they change something. I haven't been in software sales in a long time. But that's one of the companies we were working with because in software sales, we wanted to be independent of the big corporate textbook companies. So that's kind of what we did. Let's see. I will release the cut down version of this. Yes. String, not a huge fan of Endeavour, but love ArchLabs. Yeah, I was not able to get ArchLabs to install very easily. It took me 5 or 6 tries before we got it. I think it's a problem with the GNOME package right now. There's a one of the packages, the key is invalid, and that causes the entirety of the installer to crash. And so it never installed GDM, never did any of the settings. So I was able to get the system booted, but it was still in multiple different languages, and nothing worked right, and nothing that I selected was actually installed. Interesting. Let's see. Configured client routers the other day for greater security. Unfortunately, I've locked myself out somehow. That's exciting. By the way, I tried Arch once. There you go. All right. Effective Friday, I will no longer be dual booting Arch Linux and MX Linux. MX has regressed so badly, it's not worth saving. Really? That's not good news. I use MX Linux for my writing computer, although I don't generally push updates to it very frequently. Since it stays mostly offline, I don't really use it for anything. The only time I connect it to a cloud server just to sync a copy of a book to the internet, but otherwise, you know. Reinstall KDE Plasma on Linux Mint, default to it, but I still need the Cinnamon desktop as a fallback. It's been 20.1 is on my to-do list. Haven't tried the new version yet. Love Mint. Yeah, I just pushed system updates to my 19.3 in hopes that that will resolve the kernel issues. As long as it does, I'll be good. Let's see. Yes, I will release the cut-down version again. All right. Yeah. Moonbase Alpha Grays. He's not there, but notice that Roger's back there watching me. So if I make any mistakes, Roger's back there. So he'll be coming in. So let's see. The kitty is under protest. Wants Endeavor only review. I think he does. I'm pretty sure he does. That's why I couldn't get the other one installed right. That's probably the case. I was thinking about it. If I didn't get it running, then that's good. Audio and video look good. Audio level is goof. Codec is not lagging. Sounds good. All right. Yeah, I was recording my other podcast, and there was like a quarter of a second delay. So everything was really bad until I got to recording this edition. Those are on my publishing group podcasts. We just did the updates where you can find the podcast. So if you're interested in that stuff, the website, I'll go ahead and drop the website here, and you want to navigate to the author spotlight section. We're doing interviews with authors about their Christian books. So head on over there to the author spotlight. We got the podcast feeds up in the last week for iTunes, Google, TuneIn, Spotify. We have the direct feed there. We're pending on Amazon and iHeartRadio. I just haven't heard anything back from either of those yet. And then we have video. We have them on YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Joshu TV, NewTube, HugeTube. Thought there might be one more, but I think that might be it. So you can catch those a variety of different places. So if you're interested in that. If you've written a Christian book, let me know. I'll interview you. Let's see. The Alpha File Manager still works on Linux Mint, but theming is messed up. MX is fine here. No issues. All right. Roger. What's our vector? Victor. Yeah, I don't know. Red Flag OS is still downloading, 59%, been an hour or so. Oh boy. Is it Red Flag or Red Star? Oh, Red Star OS. All right. Let's see. Wow, we only have like 17 viewers right now. Well, I guess this is kind of the inauguration, isn't it? I guess most people are over there. I'm not sure if we're watching a train wreck or something else going on right now, but I don't know. Very interesting. Doesn't really interest me at all. So we'll go ahead and talk about Arch Linux. And if people want to join us, go for it. But I was like, man, why is the view count so low? Oh, right. That's right. The inauguration. I imagine a lot of people are watching that. Anyway. That's right. That is an airplane reference. I haven't seen Airplane in a long time. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get started in on our system here. If I can remember where all my panels are. There we are. And I need that one too. All right. Let's get started. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we want to do another DistroWars, and we want to have a look at two Arch installers, those being ArchLabs and Endeavour. Why did I come to these two to look at? Well, because for a long time my Arch computer was running ArchLabs for about 2 years, and this last weekend I changed it over to EndeavourOS. Why did I do that? I looked at actually all the Arch installers. I went with Endeavour because I had a lot of other things to do, and Endeavour was the quickest one that I can just throw in a distro, push the button, select the desktop environment, and walk away from it, and come back in an hour, and then dump my home folder. And literally, if I didn't tell you that my operating system changed, you probably wouldn't know. Except with Endeavour, I get a couple of extra tools for kernel management and things. Those are things that are a little bit different. But we're going to walk through these. We are actually going to look at the installers in addition to the builds. So I have a separate virtual machine that I'll just kind of throw each of the installers in just to make sure I don't mess things up. And there were a couple snags. ArchLabs did not want to install right when selecting the GNOME desktop environment. I originally wanted to do Budgie on both of them, but it turns out ArchLabs does not have Budgie on the installer. You can still install it because it basically is Arch with just some extra theming components. That's really your difference. There's ArchLabs has some theming components, and it has a few extra scripts that are different. Other than that, it's Arch. EndeavourOS is also Arch, but it has a few extra tools like a GUI kernel manager and a few other settings and options in there as well. So overall, I was able to take EndeavourOS and convert it into the same Arch system. I've been using it for 2 years. I did this for a couple different reasons. Number one, for some reason, my ArchLabs computer would take up to 5 minutes to boot. I'm not sure why. And rather than flip through figuring out why, the second issue is it was not encrypted, and I wanted to go ahead and encrypt this drive since I do use it for more and more work. It's no longer just a generic media PC that I use to watch YouTube videos or something. It's actually something that is actually storing emails. It actually has some production work on it. So I thought encrypting would be better. And then the third is I was running the old one off of a USB drive, which has some distinct advantages, but there's also some great advantages with having Arch installed on the hard drive on the computer. Since I attempted to fix the Windows 8 disk that was in there, just to see if I could get booting into it or not, it didn't want to work. So I said, screw it. I wasted literally an entire day trying to get Windows fixed. That's how bad Windows is. Said, screw it. In less than half the time, I installed a whole new Arch, dumped my entire old computer, and my computer is exactly the same as it was with a couple of extra tools and a few small modifications. And so with that, I wanted to talk about the differences between installing on ArchLabs versus installing on EndeavourOS. And so that's where we are going today. So first, let's have a brief look at their websites. ArchLabs, it's just very quick, very simple. Now, this one is a little bit older. The last build is from November, and that could raise some flags with Arch users going, you haven't updated your packages when? And maybe this is why I'm having a problem installing some versions of this. When I tried to install it with GNOME, it kept on failing, and the installer doesn't have an easy way to recover from a failure. I end up installing XFCE, and that worked. I also went through and tested a Plasma install, and that worked. So I think there's something either wrong with GNOME or something wrong with GDM. So it could have actually been GDM because GDM also would not install. So those are kind of the things. But overall, it's a very lightweight system. It was originally designed as an Arch version of Bunsen Labs, I think, which was a Debian based. And the couple guys that really liked Arch and really liked Bunsen put this together just to say, hey, it's basically the same as Bunsen, only it's using Arch instead of Debian. And the differences here is that that was really designed as a very lightweight, not necessarily desktop environments, but window managers. And 2 years ago, when I first started using ArchLabs on a daily basis, at that point in time, they changed themselves to be an installer where you could put desktop environments or window managers. So if you are looking for an easy Arch install with a variety of window managers, then ArchLabs has more choices. Endeavour is a lot easier to use. This is one of the best ways to get a very, very close to pure Arch up in a feel that feels just like installing any other Linux distro. We have the Calamaris installer versus ArchLabs text-based terminal installer. You just boot it up, you do a couple options, you have to select the desktop environment that you want. Now, Endeavour has more desktop environments than ArchLabs, but it has fewer window managers. I think i3 is the only one as far as the Windows managers it contains. And actually, that's the one I threw on my computer because eventually I would like to learn how to use i3. I'll get to it eventually, and the fact that it's on the actual computer on my desktop right now means that maybe some Saturday I'll boot into it and tinker around and see if I can get this guy working. EndeavourOS, though, is the easiest of all of these different installers to work with because it's just a GUI Calamaris installer. I looked at ArchFi. That one on ArchFi was that one is just way more complicated. You have to answer every single question, although you get a much more pure Arch. ArchLabs is very much like that. There's just a couple fewer questions. You had your Arco Linux. The problem I have with that one is there's so many options on the website, you will spend a lot of time reading it. So I went with EndeavourOS just for simplicity's sake. And so that is where we are at now. So with that, I thought it would be prudent to go through and have a look at our installers. And so what we're going to do is we'll start in with the ArchLabs installer, so you can get a look at what that guy's going to look like here. So let me find my desktop view, and over here you can see I have my ISO in here. In my ISO, I can go with just our basic install script. We can go with install script with speech. We can boot the OS, and then there's just a few other things there. So we're going to go ahead and boot into this. It's going to boot us up into Arch, and then as it boots us up into Arch, we'll have the ability to run the installer. So here we are, and we land right here on a terminal prompt window. And if you're not used to installing Linux, this might actually be like, oh God, what is it? This is the thing I was worried about. People told me not to try Linux. It's a terminal line. I don't know what to do. It's very simple. It just tells you on the screen. So now that we have a bigger font, I don't have to edit it out a little bit later. Now we can walk through our settings here. So here it's just kind of giving us the instructions. Use the arrow keys, enter, tab keys, etc., in order to push your information. We have to start by selecting our language. It does tell us the default is US, but I found if I do not actually go down here and select US, then it actually will default to whatever that other language is. Now we're going to be checking for new versions. Now right here, it's fairly easy. And this is why ArchLabs is a nice, easy script. Usually the defaults are going to work on nearly everything. Over here, we need to change the partition table. Just go ahead and click the automatic partitioning right here, and it's going to go ahead and partition everything out. So here it's creating this. It's creating our data partition. So here we have SDA1, which is going to contain... we have our boot partition, then we have our home directory partition. Second, we have to mount it. And if you did your partitioning right, it should automatically detect what goes where. So that's nice. And then here we want to select a swap file. And your swap file should be approximately the size of your memory if you do not need hibernation, and twice your memory if you do need hibernation. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick the default there, which is a no hibernation swap file. And then this will take a few seconds here to get running. No, we're not frozen, just waiting. And waiting. This part takes a while. This is the longest part of the installer, actually. Everybody say, go swap file, go. And here we are choosing where our country is. If you do not select anything, it will automatically partition, but knowing me, it's going to select like Antarctica or something. So we're going to go ahead and change that. Select your bootloader. You have the option between Grub and SysLinux. Username and password. We'll just set this guy up under ArchLabs. Enter my super secret password. That's definitely not 123. Now, if you'd like a separate administrative password, fill them in here. Otherwise, leave those guys blank, and then you will be a sudo user. And now we have our system configuration, Z shell, bash, or I don't know, what is this one? MirBSD, I don't know, corn shell? Corn shell. It sounds too much like corn pops. Let's use bash. I'm used to that one. Here's your host name of your system. And then now we want to select our language. So let's go ahead and come on down and find our US English, and then our time zone. And now we want to pick our kernel. This is one of your differences. You get the basic default Linux kernel in EndeavourOS, but Endeavour has a tool on the GUI to change the kernel later. This one here, we pick which kernel you have here, and it's going to be a little bit harder to change it later. Now we can select our window managers and things. Now you'll notice here there's no options for base packages. This will install what they consider an appropriate suite, and sometimes it works well and sometimes it does not. So you can see here that we have a lot of desktop managers. window managers rather. And we have some of our basic desktop environments, but we don't have everything. I found in my tests this morning that GNOME keeps failing. And it is, I think it's CDR Tools, I think, has a bad key, and that crashes the entire installer. I did test with Plasma, and I did test with XFCE as well. I did not test Cinnamon because that is dependent on GNOME functions, and I thought that might crash as well. But you can kind of see that you have a couple of different options. And then now we pick our login manager. Now it could also have been GDM, since I went with SDDM on my Plasma build. I went with LightDM on my XFCE build. Both of those installed fine, but on the GNOME build where I had GDM, it failed. So maybe I could try GNOME desktop environment with GDM or something like Plasma with GDM and see if that actually worked. So let's just go ahead and with Light. And then now we can install additional packages. So if you don't install anything here, then only what comes by default with your desktop environment or window manager is going to be installed. So make sure you know what you're doing here. If you are unsure, make sure you at least have a terminal. We have Terminator and Tilix are two terminals in there. There might be a few more in there, but go ahead and install whatever those. And then if you want to run any post-install commands, here's the configuration. And then we go ahead and click the button here, and it will go ahead and install. At this point, if everything works right, I can click OK, go away, and it'll come right on back to this basic main menu, ask you if you want to shut down and reboot the computer afterwards. So that is the ArchLabs installer. Let's actually go ahead and see what ArchLabs is going to look like. All right, and we'll go ahead and get caught up on comments while this guy is shutting down. Yeah, we're going to do that. Check in on a couple of comments, and then there's, let's see, using Endeavour since January 2020, love it. Yeah, it seems to work really well. I'll have to test if my printer works. That's one thing that was not working well, was my printer on ArchLabs. It's working well for a while. My printer just stopped working after a while. I said, screw it. It's not like I have 10 computers around here. I'll print with something else if I need a printer, but it would be cool to have a printer and a scanner on this computer as well. Let's see. Who's been wondering if the prophecy, Mark of the Beast, and all that might be true with all the vaccination tattoo. I actually did a video on that on my Christian channel. I'm inclined to say that no, the vaccine is not the Mark of the Beast. Although it does have, although he did call it an archetype of the Mark of the Beast, in that there are many places around the world, not necessarily the US yet, but many places around the world where if you do not get the vaccine, you will be shuttered out of portions of society. That's exactly what the Mark of the Beast in the Bible is. You get this or you cannot participate in society. So in that sense, yes, but the Mark of the Beast, oh no. You can still make it to heaven if you've been vaccinated with the COVID vaccine. Let's see. Dominic has issues with Firefox. All right. Find it funny how even on Windows, Chromium is a superior experience. Chrome uses Arduino for the graphics. Adreno, not Arduino. Oh, well, whatever. Got Cinnamon on Linux Mint Debian Edition 4 on my mom's old laptop, and it's rock solid. Absolutely. Yep. Was dropping sync support from Chromium-based browsers in March. Will this affect vanilla Chromium on Linux? Sync support. What is sync support? Is that like syncing up your documents? I don't use these services. I have no idea what the hell that means. What are you talking about? If they're dropping sync support from Chromium-based browsers, then if you're using that service, then yes, that will actually impact it. That's going to be my guess, not knowing what I'm looking at. I'm guessing that's to sync files, but why would you want to sync your files to Google? Let's see. Let's hit the hotkey assigned to stop streaming. No, actually, I do not have a hotkey assigned to stop streaming. OBS has become unreliable. No, I mean, not really. I mean, thinking about how much I use OBS, the occasional problems. If there's anything that's become unreliable, how about I have not updated this computer in over a year? That might be the unreliable part here. Let's see. Yeah, it was OBS, so OBS stopped feeding data. And this new setup, the OBS screen is right in front of my eyes, so I can see it a little bit better. Let's see. Had a problem with EndeavourOS hardware acceleration. Yeah. Yeah. So far, the Endeavour takes half the time to boot than ArchLabs did. Go swap file. Go swap file. Oh boy. Imagine if you select an Antarctica time zone. There you go. Don't get banned from Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. You did something. You're doing something wrong. Yeah, I was thinking I might get the boot sometime here, but oh well, didn't quite happen yet. I should be paying attention over to the Discord guide too. So let's see what we got going on over there. This Gone Red Hell is now free. Oh, 16 production servers. I thought it was like 16, right? Online operating system tester. Ooh, that sounds fun. Not Gary is still in class. Well, greetings. So typing that info into Firefox bar immediately crashes Windows 10. Yeah, there's that's in my news this week. Kay likes Linux. Yeah, it's like, Kay, what did you do to get on Twitter's hate list? I mean, for sure, between the two of us, I figured I'd get banned first. But it wasn't. Let's see. I don't know. Yeah, they just say violations to our term community standards. Well, would you be more specific, please? It's like when PayPal banned me. Can you tell me why? Well, we can't tell you why. Well, then why do you want me to create another account? Like, if you tell me why, okay, sure. But, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Didn't like all those mental struggles. Yeah. I'm not going to say that, Susan Bate, Peter Jansen. No. Quite active in conspiracy theories on Twitter and still not banned. All right. Let's see. Dutch person got banned from Twitter because she insulted the Dutch population. Oh, boy. I will never insult the Dutch population because they gave us Dutch apple pies. In fact, I'm going to be having me some apple pie with dinner tonight. It's going to be good. Let's see. Sync support. How often your Gmail gets updated? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. EndeavourOS does install a bit slow, though, because it uses Python. Not really a big problem. Yeah, like, the install was slow, but the boot time is pretty quick. Discord channel won't open? Really? Opening for me. Far, I've not been able to enable IOMMU or KVM on your 5.7 or B550 systems. R7 without system locking up and not completing the boot. On some Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7 systems, the Linux kernel 5.4 is problematic. So if that's if the Linux kernel you're trying to use on a Ryzen 7 is 5.4, upgrade it to 5.8. Show's gone. He'd do that on a pre-recorded video, then he'd get banned for sure. I mean, it's right here. I mean, come on. Let's see if I get the ban. Don't bust into my office. Let's see. Let's see. Suddenly, just go to DT's new Mastodon instance. Hey, DT, you showed up just in time for the boomstick. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. Let's go ahead and have a look at, what are we doing? ArchLabs first, right? Let's go ahead then and have a brief look at ArchLabs and get that guy booted up. And then we won't do anything more than just have a brief look at it. will warn you about it on a live stream. Oh, really? SWTOR is a bad kernel for both Ryzen and Navi. Yeah. They'll warn you about it on a live stream, huh? Well, you know. So here we are, and this is the XFCE version. So literally, I don't recall, except my OBS didn't record this time. Oh, OBS is treating me really bad today, guys. OBS, what did I ever do to you? And here we are over on the XFCE desktop on ArchLabs. So I didn't install anything else, just I went ahead and ran through the installer, added the light DM. And so let's just have a brief look at what's in here. One of the things that you'll notice is you don't get anything like POMEC or any other means to manage packages. All we have basically is everything that would come with a default XFCE build, except the icons and the theming is ArchLabs theming. That's pretty much the only difference that we get. So we have a mail reader, we have a web browser, basic XFCE tools. Anything else that we would want to do, we're going to have to go ahead and figure out how to do manually. Let's boot up the file manager because there's one thing I could not get working initially, and that was browsing my network. But let's see if it works or not. That's actually something I had to build on my old ArchLabs system, but you do not have to build it here. So let's do... give that a try, see if it works. And no. So if I want to access network shares on ArchLabs, I'm going to be fighting with it. I was pretty sure that was the case. But other than that, we do have a pretty good system. It is more of a minimal Arch. It's what we might call de-bloated. But regardless, this is it, and it's good, and you can go from here and build up what you need by following the Arch documentation. That's actually what I did in the past, and I didn't have any issues. So that, let's go ahead and have a look at the EndeavourOS installer next. I have all sorts of fun videos in my listing here to do. So shut you down. And we'll go ahead and boot up the EndeavourOS. Let's see. Using kernel 5.10 kernel. Yeah, I don't know. Not sure what the issue would be. I pulled a DT, that's right. Don't bust into my office. Just tell them it was a toy gun. That's right. It was a toy gun. I just painted that orange tip off of it. It's a prop. Surprised they didn't ban DT over the gun rights video. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't see that one. I'll have to go watch the gun rights video sometime. That sounds intriguing. Get out of here. And here we are with the Endeavour bootloader, and we're just going to go ahead and boot up here. Now, in this case, rather than booting to the scary terminal, we're actually going to boot to a desktop that asks us if we would like to run the installer. Now, Endeavour is excellent because it has a couple choices for the installer. One of these we're going to see is going to say the offline installer, and the other one is going to say it is the online installer. The offline installer is just going to install the XFCE version that they give you in the live CD, versus the online installer is where you go to have a lot of extra tools and options. So we can see here that we have EndeavourOS. We can see we're a live user. It's themed very nicely. It looks pretty good. And over here we have this nice pop-up information. We can update the mirrors, etc. We're going to start the installer, and this asks us if we like the offline, which is just the XFCE with EndeavourOS theming, and the online lets you choose whatever you want with your vanilla theming and an internet connection is going to be required. We do have a terminal pop up here, but then we have the Calamaris installer. And then this is the part where we're going to walk through. And this is why Endeavour is a little bit nicer of an installer. If you're new to Linux and you're still a little bit concerned about learning the terminal. So over here, let's erase the disk. And then you can choose no swap, swap with no Hibernate, or swap with Hibernate. It's going to partition everything. Now here is where EndeavourOS stands out. All of these are options and settings that will have things like that, the ability to access my network shares, the ability to run my printers, and all these other things. And if you just keep all these on, you'll have a full functioning desktop computer without any issues. Notice here that we have a lot more desktop environments, but we only have just a couple window managers. So we have i3 as a window manager. And really that's it. So if you're really looking for more desktops, EndeavourOS is better. If you're looking for more window managers, ArchLabs is going to be better. You can also add printing support, so you can see a variety of different printing support options. So I selected these on mine, although I've not tested my printer yet. We have support for HP printers and scanners here, and then we have some accessibility tools. So over here, we don't have the option to choose extra software to install. So that took a little extra time when I rebuilt my system using EndeavourOS, but I mean, it was just a matter of loading up Pacman and adding a bunch of packages to my list. So really, once you walk through, let's just select, we'll select the Budgie desktop here. And then you just go ahead and enter your information just like before, and then next through, and then it's going to install. This one will take a little bit longer to install, but then once it installs, no big deal. You're all up and running and ready to go. And so let's go ahead and have a look at what this looks like after the install next. All right, let's go ahead and cancel this guy. Yes, cancel, shut you down, and we'll boot up the installed version. No way to talk to a human being that works at YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to talk to an employee at Google, you have to have a an AdWords account and actually be giving them money. And then it's shockingly easy to get a competent human on the phone. I know it's totally surprising, but it is actually entirely possible to get a competent human on the phone who works at Google. You just have to be giving them money first. Dated StormOS, looking for people to demo, review it. All right. Send me a link on email or on Discord and I'll look at it. Any other comments I'm missing? Gun rights. Oh, thanks. Farron just dropped the gun rights, software rights and gun rights video into Discord server. I will watch that when we are done with our video today. Go ahead and get logged on into Endeavour here, and then we'll go ahead and get on over here. And here we are booted into the EndeavourOS. This is the one where we installed Budgie, and we did not have anything else installed to this particular one, so you can kind of see what's in here. Again, it's just going to give us the software that comes built into Budgie, which is not a whole ton here. But Endeavour has this extra tool that just popped up. So after install, we can update the mirrors. We can run a software updater. We can update the notifications. So the notifications I found are fairly nice. I actually have the notification on my desktop on my production system here that tells me, yeah, there's a couple things I can update over there. You can just change the display managers, resolutions, wallpapers. We also have the kernel manager, which is if you need to manage your kernels, and then a few other things in here as well. Of course, I went through and I installed Pamuk and a bunch of other things that I like to have on the system. And I installed some Flatpak support and stuff like that. All of that was wicked easy. And let's just go ahead and pull down our files. And with EndeavourOS, I don't actually have to fight with anything. It finds all my network shares really well. I'm not sure why it's telling me unable to access. Oh, because I need to click on that one. Haha, wrong one. But here I can actually access all of my network shares. This is one of the advantages of going with EndeavourOS, is because it has all of these computer functions and features that I need to have this computer running in a full system without me spending a lot of extra time like, oh, how do I add that network support into the file manager again and stuff like that. And so Endeavour was a really good choice to go for when I chose to change my Arch system around a little bit, just adding a few extra tools and options. So with both of these desktops, we've had a look at both of the desktops. We've had a look at both of the installers. Which one is the better choice? It really is like anything else, dependent on your particular situation. If you are already comfortable with the command line installer is not going to get in your way. And if you are looking for more window managers rather than desktop environments, ArchLabs is definitely hands down the way to go. If you are looking for a wider variety of desktop environments, or if you're still a little bit too frightened of the terminal and you want a good GUI installer, EndeavourOS works. Also, if you need all the things like networking and printing and all of the things you might expect your computer to do out of the box, if you need the vastest majority of those enabled by setup on the first boot, EndeavourOS is going to be a better choice. It's going to get you all of those. But some people call that system bloat. If I don't have printers on the system, if I don't need to access network drives, why bother running all of that stuff on your computer? So these are the fundamental things. Neither one of these is the absolute clear winner. They're both excellent ways to get a very good, very close to base Arch install. None of them are pure Arch. I've downloaded the ISO and walked through every step. But these are really designed to get an Arch system up and running very quickly. They're both excellent. I like them both, and I've used them both. And so I'm a week now on EndeavourOS. And frankly, if you didn't tell me you changed the computer, you could have changed on me, and I wouldn't know the difference. So that's my overall final take. So thanks for watching this video. Have a look over the website at switchedtolinux.com for any more information, tips, tricks, and whatever else. And we will see you in the next video. All right, where's my comment thread? There's my comment thread. Let's go ahead and shut this guy down. TV was bought and paid for with zero support from Google to cancel, and that's illegal, but not for Google, I guess. Yeah. You're pro-gub? Oh, pro-gun, all right. Don't say that too loud on the YouTubes. Let's see. I mean, to be fair, I wonder if DistroWars would ever want to see any Ubuntu-based distros. Probably not. Too many distros. This is why I stopped working in OS development. There you go. Let's see. Here's a funny observation I noted. There's a slow but sure increase lately in Qt-based desktop environments. Ooh. 1,000+ distributions is too much. It stops innovation. Well, I don't know. Like, I don't even really see there's being that many distributions, because how many of them are Ubuntu with a few extra packages installed? I don't exactly call that a distro. You know, I boil distros down to Arch, Debian, Fedora, OpenSUSE. Then we have our derivatives, Linux Mint, Elementary. You know, and there's some that are significant enough that I would call them distros. But a lot of times it's just, I've themed Ubuntu differently. It's my distro. No, it's not a distro. But that's okay. You know, you do you. That's fine. I try EndeavourOS with GNOME, see what happens on my systems. Yeah, I think what I might try soon here is just to see if it works. I want to see if I can install GNOME with like LightDM instead of GDM. I'm wondering if GDM is actually what the bug package is. Something trying to install GNOME with GDM is crashing the installer. And it's CDR tools. If somebody can tell me, is CDR tools built into GNOME, or is it something in GDM? That's really what it's going to boil down to. Distro developers should focus on contributing towards improving distros, such as Kubuntu and Fedora. Well, maybe Kubuntu should just focus on improving Ubuntu. Said the B word, bloat. That's right. There's too many. Might be responding. Tim, my bad. Yeah. Qt is going closed source. I heard that. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Are we gonna get a fork? Is it gonna be called, you know, KT? Oh, Luke Smith just banned everyone who uses the B word. Oh man, I didn't see that video. I didn't know I was banned. Been called KDE's trump card. KT. Ooh. QT is having some licensing issues with KDE IARC. DWM, Spectrum, Cinnamon on my EndeavourOS all work great. Yep. Yeah, I really want to learn i3 or some other window manager. I would like to try them out and see how they are for production, productivity, and stuff. So, yeah. Many people messaging me with things like, hey, I made a new Linux OS. It's Ubuntu with XFCE desktop. Really? I mean, really? I can never get into XFCE. Like, it's okay. Like, I don't mind it on, on like my little tiny Lenovo. Running anything more than XFCE will slow it down too much. But it's just like on a full production system, I just can't get into XFCE. He uploaded the video, then banned it because it said bloat. Okay. I'm done with, I put XFCE on Xbase. I'll give XFCE a good pass on cubes. How's that? Distributions have led to upstream contributions. There you go. That's right. That's right. Cough, FarronOS, cough. Are you getting the coof down there, FarronOS? What's all this coughing? You're coughing a lot, Farron. You better go get the test. You might have the coof. On a Linux Gamer Mozilla post doesn't go far enough. Okay, I watched about the first 2.5 minutes of that, and then I determined that he has lost his ever-loving mind and has no earthly idea what in the hell went on in Washington. A bunch of armed Trump supporters stormed the Capitol. No. In case you are unaware, Washington, D.C. is basically a no-gun zone. You're not allowed to have a gun there. It is a may issue on carrying guns at all. There is no open carry. Carry conceal permits are exclusively reserved for Secret Service and professional bodyguards. You're not going to get guns. So, no, armed Trump supporters did not storm the Capitol. I'm sorry, Linux Gamer, you've lost it right about there. Secondly, it was actually demonstrated quite clearly that it was actually not Trump supporters that seemed to start this. There's actually a whole lot of stuff, including long-term Antifa supporters who filmed themselves starting the violence. Just FYI, if you actually look into this stuff, but I mean, did Trump supporters participate? Sure, because that's what mobs do. This is why I'm a loner. Okay, I don't want to follow the crowds. I don't want to follow. Crowds lose their minds. And so at that point in time, like 2 minutes in the video, no, he's completely wrong on the objective facts. And so I didn't want to hear what his opinion is, because his opinion is based on objective facts. But yeah. Let's see. License to carry gun in all 50 states, but absolutely you are not allowed to have a gun in DC. Yep. I gotta figure out how to get the licensing on all 50. Of course, I have the Pennsylvania, and it's got like 30 or 40 or so. Like, how do you get a license to carry in Illinois? That's an accomplishment. I gotta find out how you did that. Let's see. No, it didn't happen. Let's see. All right, I think we've gotten to the bottom of the comments. Let's go ahead and feed the kitty cat and then get out of here before we turn into a political discussion, which I don't really want to have right now. All right, let's go feed the kitty. Oh, hallelujah. Brought to you by Temptations. It's right here, dummy. All right. Let's see. Feed the kitties. Let's see. Raise the cup. Raise the cup. Cheers. I need a new Switch to Linux cup. My Switch to Linux cup is, after 3 years, it is finally getting worn down. But I do have, let me show you guys this. We do have fallen kitty cams. Tinfoil hat cups. I'm going to have to, let me refocus the camera on this guy. Switch to Linux tinfoil hat cups. Those are really nice. You can get those over at shop.switchtolinux.com. If this camera survives the day, I will have to declare that these are the strongest cameras in the world. And it has. It is still good. It is still good indeed. All right. At least your cat chews them. My cat does one chomp and swallows them. DistroTube, the password is definitely not DT. Switch Linux password is definitely not 123. It's definitely not 123. Let's see. You missed the opportunity to call them tinfoil cup times. I know. But this is the pattern. You can get t-shirts. I have t-shirts and coffee cups and other stuff. I need to order myself a couple more things with the tinfoil hat in a minute, because that's a really cool picture. All right, guys. We will jump off for now. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software